All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? The AI world is a full-on battlefield right now, and the two heavyweights, OpenAI and Google, just dropped their latest and greatest. So today, we're putting OpenAI's GPT-4o in the ring with Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro to figure out who really comes out on top.
Look, we've all seen the official benchmarks, right? OpenAI claims a win here, Google claims a win there, but you and I both know that lab tests don't tell the whole story. What we really want to know is, when you're in the trenches doing actual work, which one of these things feels smarter? Which one actually wins in the real world?
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the high-stakes world these AIs live in. Then we'll meet the two very distinct personalities of these AI copilots. From there, it's into the head-to-head tests, a fascinating deep dive on a specific case, and finally, we'll help you pick your champion.
So let's set the stage a little. When Google dropped Gemini 1.5 Pro with that absolutely massive context window, it was a huge deal. So OpenAI's counterpunch with the faster, much more capable GPT-4o, well, it really felt like a direct response to hang on to that top spot. The competition is just incredibly fierce, and it's forcing them both to get better at a crazy fast pace.
And this is the most important part of this whole conversation. We're getting past the point of asking which AI is just technically better. The real question, the one that actually matters, is which one is the right tool for your job, for your workflow. And that's exactly what we're going to figure out.
You know, when you spend enough time with these models, you start to realize they have personalities. It sounds a little weird to say, but they're not just tools. They're like these two distinct co-pilots, and each has a totally unique way of thinking and solving problems that you'd never see on a spec sheet.
And I've got to say, this one Reddit user just absolutely nailed it with this quote. It's such a perfect analogy, right? One AI is this polished, super reliable all-arounder, while the other is a little different, maybe a bit odd, but is capable of these flashes of absolute genius.
And this is exactly what that user was talking about. GPT-4o is the ultimate generalist. You can give it a super long, complex set of instructions, and it follows them almost perfectly. But Gemini? Well, Gemini is the savant. It has this incredible knack for seeing a problem from a completely different angle. For instance, a litigator mentioned that GPT gave a great summary of a contract, but it was Gemini that spotted the one key detail, a usurious and maybe illegal interest rate hidden in the fine print. I mean, come on, that's a total game changer.
Okay, theory is great, but let's get to the main event. It's time to put these two models through a whole gauntlet of real-world tests to see where they each really shine and where they kind of fall flat. First up, a test of pure creative and visual strength. We're talking about anything and everything that involves images, analyzing them, generating them, you name it. And in this round, let's be honest, one model has an almost unfair advantage.
Yeah, Gemini takes this one hands down. It's not even a contest. Whether you're creating super detailed images or asking for complex photo edits, Gemini is just consistently faster, and the results are way higher quality. And the reason is simple, it was built from the ground up to be multimodal, and boy does it show.
All right, on to round two, the coding challenge. And this one's a lot more complicated. It's not a simple win or loss. How they perform here is really nuanced, and the best choice is going to depend entirely on what kind of code you're trying to write.
So it's pretty much a split decision here. On paper, if you look at the really tough benchmarks, GPT-4o is the clear leader, and users say it's way better for those big, complex projects, like trying to implement math from a brand new physics paper. But for simpler one-shot tasks, like, hey, build me a landing page, users found Gemini consistently creates a cleaner, better-looking, and just more polished final product.
And now for the final round. We're going back to basics. We're testing the core of what these models are supposed to do, language and logic. We're looking at everything from creative writing to just following instructions.
For most of these text-based tasks, the win really does go to GPT-4o. When you ask it to write something like a YouTube script, it just sounds more natural, less overly dramatic, which Gemini can sometimes be. It's also way more reliable when you give it a long list of complicated instructions. But, and this is a big but, you can't discount Gemini's secret weapon, that savant-like ability to find an angle you never would have thought.
Okay, now I want to show you something really fascinating. It's a little case study that just perfectly illustrates the core difference in how these two AIs think. A user asked both of them to do the exact same thing, summarize a really dense academic paper. The results were, well, they were incredibly revealing. So check this out. GPT-4o acted like a meticulous, careful research assistant. Its summary was dense, sure, but it was factually perfect. It kept all the important scientific details, stats, p-values, all of it. Gemini, on the other hand, was more like a science communicator. Its summary was way easier to read, but it took some liberties. It actually invented a method the paper didn't even use and threw in casual phrases like brain rot, which were definitely not in the original text. It chose readability over being 100% faithful to the facts.
So, after all that, who wins? Who's the champion? Well, the truth is, it completely depends on what you need it for. The best model isn't a universal title. It's all about picking the AI whose strengths align with what you're trying to accomplish.
And this table really sums it all up. If you're doing professional writing, complex coding, or any kind of research where being factually accurate is everything, GPT-4o is your champion, no question. But if you're working on creative and visual stuff, or you're in a brainstorming session and just need a totally fresh perspective, Gemini's unique way of thinking is priceless. It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
And that brings us to a really interesting final thought from another user that kind of reframes this whole thing. As these tools get more and more powerful, our relationship with them is changing. It's less about just having a simple chat and more about guiding them, managing them, building momentum. It's like surfing.
So I'll leave you with this question. As these AIs keep getting smarter and smarter, is the art of writing that one perfect prompt becoming kind of obsolete? Is the real skill for the future no longer about just prompting, but about learning how to ride these incredible waves of context and reasoning to get where you need to go? It's definitely something to think about.